All right, music fans, welcome back. It is I, Dave, the Real Music Observer, observing real music in real time for real people just like you right there and just like me here. Ritchie Blackmore, in a very interesting interview that he gave just a few days ago, talking about a one off Deep Purple reunion and seeming very sincere about it, saying that pretty much he wants to do it primarily for the fans, and he also wants to prove that he and the other old time members of Deep Purple don't hate one another. Now, he also went on to talk about throwing spaghetti, which apparently he and Ian Gillan did from time to time in the old days. Look, folks, if you're a fan of Purple, especially the Mach 2 lineup, this would be a dream come true. Ritchie Blackmore is a very fluent, lyrical guitar player, a guy who invented probably one of the most important riffs in rock history. He and Tony Iommi are my two favorite guitar players of this style. I think they bring so much to the table when it comes to writing those big fat riffs, and then those solos. Look, I like Steve Morse, and which is interesting to note that Blackmore did give some praise to Steve Morse. Says, hey, he's in this band. It's good because if he weren't, he and Ian would be fighting on a nightly or daily basis and so forth. And look, for fans of Deep Purple who've been waiting and waiting and waiting, this would be nice. Now, I've kind of gotten into the whole business side of the music industry, and there are managers and there are arbitrators and there are contracts, and then there are legal things that go on behind the scenes. I mean, this stuff is not pretty. It's actually really tedious and boring. But Ritchie went on to talk about how it's not like I can just call these guys up and say, hey, let's do a gig together. No, your management has to talk to my management. A contract has to be written. This has to be negotiated. Then we have to find a promoter. Then we have to give the promoter a cut and so forth. And it goes on and on. Blackmore said it gets so complicated that after a while you just kind of like throw your hands up in the air and say, maybe we can't do this. It would be nice, like in the old days, you just give someone a phone call and everybody shows up and someone prints some tickets and somebody silk screens some t-shirts and they're off and playing a gig in some stadium somewhere. But this would be an epic event and everybody would want to cut. And Blackmore, I think, has come to the conclusion that it's probably not going to happen because of all of these hurdles to jump over and hoops to jump through. But it's really cool to see Ritchie Blackmore talking about Deep Purple. He's got some new music coming out. Purple had an album a couple of years back called Infinite, which was phenomenal, which didn't really get the time of day here in the United States, and yours truly had videos about that, just kind of scratching my head. Merging these two enterprises back together again, though, Blackmore and Purple, I think you would have some real interest here in the States and around the world for that matter. This would be an epic rock and roll event. So we shall see what happens. I'll tell you, the music industry is very complicated, and there's more going on behind the scenes than meets the eye. And I think you're going to see that play out in the months ahead with bands like Journey and Fleetwood Mac and maybe even the Eagles. But we shall see. For now, it's Dave. I'm the Real Music Observer. Ritchie Blackmore would like to do a one-off gig, and I'd love to see it. How about you? I'll be back with more real music soon, so stay tuned.